All right, Gary. Good morning, man. How you doing?
Good morning, Seb. Yeah, doing well. How you doing?
I'm okay, man. It's pissing down rain outside right now. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I can see that. I think we got some going on here too. Not as much as you do.
Well, it's supposed to be the last big rainstorm, maybe of the season. I don't know.
I don't know, man. They keep coming back. It was 75 yesterday or 78 here.
Oh wow.
It's
Oh,
about 55 today.
wow. Yeah. Well, I'm about ready for some springtime weather. That's for sure.
Yeah, same here, man. Finally get back to some sunny days, man.
Sunny days, sunny California. That's what we're all about.
Yeah,
The topic today, Gary, is creating urgency with both buyers and sellers.
yeah, that's a great topic.
It's something we got to talk about right now.
Exactly. Yeah,
It's an
yeah. We
urgent,
need.
it's an urgent topic.
Yeah, we need to get these people moving, right? Get these buyers to buy and sellers to sell right now. We need business now.
Right. We need now business. And, one thing that's very true about real estate is that you can't make anybody like buy or sell, really. They're going to buy or sell. That decision is totally up to them. You can't make them do anything. But I think, though, that you can make them do something sooner.
Agree, yeah. That's where your skills come in, right? So you can create urgency. Uh, but you got to get to that meeting first, right? So once you meet with them and with your presentation, you can show them some urgency, so they can go ahead and sign on the dotted line.
Well, you are the master of buyer broker agreements and having these meetings with buyers. Do you have anything in your presentation, I guess, when you're signing a buyer up that addresses urgency?
Yeah, there's a couple things, right? So in our market, inventory is very low, and I think it's going to remain low for a long time. So there's urgency right there for the buyers to get one they can find, right? And then I'm noticing the interest rates might be going down at some point. You got elections coming up, and with that, there's going to be more buyers in the market when the rates go down, and the property values may change a little bit. So that's going to actually create more competition. So when you show that to buyers, they can go ahead and make their decision right there. You don't have to really say much more than after that.
How do you show that to buyers? Do you have any kind of like tools or charts or graphs or data that you point to that helps buyers see that?
As far as the inventory, you can pull up your MLS. Show them the inventory difference between when the rates were at 3%, when the rates are at 7%. And home prices, you can show them the historical charts where they're heading, and the rates. Historically, when the elections are coming up, they always change, right? Then to
Right.
go down.
Well, I think looking at the historical chart certainly is very helpful, really, because, like if you go back, which by the way, people, the St. Louis Fed has great home price data all across the country. I'm not sure why the St. Louis Fed keeps that. But if you want to go to the St. Louis Fed website, you can get historical data going back 30 or 40 years for home prices. And it's real easy to see what happens when you wait. When you wait, you lose out on equity, right? And obviously, it could be that, like in any one particular year you buy, then the next year home prices go down, right? It could be they go down maybe for more than a year. But generally speaking, they don't go down for more than a couple of years, right? Before there's a
No,
recovery.
no. The last time we had this happen was 2007. After that, it hasn't happened since.
Yeah, I mean, so like home prices crashed in 2000 and or they began to crash in 2007, and then they went down until about 2009 or so, but then they kind of bottomed out right around then, and they went back up again. They've been marching up since early 2010, I believe, at least around here anyway. I'm not sure, nationally or where you're at.
I think 2012 was the bottom. Since then, it's been going up steady. I think
Yeah,
minimum 5% a year. That's
right.
about the average.
12 years, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's quite a long time. It's quite a lot of appreciation to miss out on. So that's a good way to get buyers instilled with a bit of a sense of urgency. And how about like the cost of renting versus owning? Do you go over that with them? Like, hey, like it's not like choosing not to buy now is really making you a whole bunch of money, right? Because you're also throwing away your money on rent this whole time. Not only are you missing out on any potential appreciation, but you're also um, paying both ways, really. You're losing all your rent money.
absolutely. Yeah, you're losing rent money, and then plus, I don't know, your market right here, it's hard to find rental properties too. It's a shortage of
Yeah,
rental properties.
actually, that's what I say. I say the only thing harder than trying to buy a house in my town is trying to rent a house in my town. As hard as it is to buy one, rentals are very hard to come by, and they are extremely expensive.
Yeah, no, rental has gone up like dramatically. I don't know how people afford it to pay rent, than buying your own. You don't have to move anymore, right? Uh, with the rental, you don't know what the landlord's going to do next, right?
Well, around here, like a decent two-bedroom is like 3.5 grand now. And you can find one not like less than that. You can maybe find one for like 2,500, but it's not going to be decent. It's going to be indecent. It's going to be
Yeah,
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 hovel, basically.
yeah, that is a lot. Same here. I think we're even one bedroom apartment, $1,500 here.
Really? No way.
Yeah, nice ones. Yeah,
Wow, that's crazy.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Where's
So
the cheap, easy living now, huh?
no, I don't think so. It used to be here, right? In
It
my
used to
time.
be there. It's not
Yeah,
there anymore.
no,
Yeah. So, and that right there, that's urgency too, really. I mean, like when you buy a house, what are you doing? You're at least in California anyway. You are locking in your housing payment for the next 30 years, right?
absolutely. Yeah, you're locked in, and your rent always keep changing, right? I mean, since they put in a rental, what do you call it, cap now, the landlords are actually reaching the cap every year now. They're actually raising your rent every year now. Before people didn't care.
Right.
Now they don't want to miss out. If they don't do it, they can't go back and redo. Can't do it again. So
Right. So they're definitely raising your rent now all the
yeah,
time, at least in
all the
California,
time.
because there's a maximum amount per year that rent can be raised. So
Yeah,
they don't want to have that deficit. So they're raising rent all the time on you.
yeah. Because I mean, before hardly ever people left their rent alone for like 10 years, right?
Yeah, right. And they don't care, right?
Yeah,
They'll raise it later, and
yeah.
now they're like, well, I better not do that because you can only raise it a certain amount over the previous year's rent, right?
Exactly.
So if
Yeah, you
you're
can't. Yeah, you can't just go back in 5 years and say I'm going to make up for the 5 years. You can't do that.
right, yeah, and that's fine too. I mean, I understand that. I mean, that would be a burden to a lot of people to have their rent suddenly jump up by 50%. But I mean, like being like a long-term renter isn't really like a very good strategy for financial health, really. Like I look at myself, like how long I've had my house and how much money I make every single month owning my house versus renting my house, right? I mean, like it is insane, right? Like every single month that I own my house, I'm like, I don't know, 15 grand richer than if I were renting a property like my house.
Agree. Agree. Same here. Same here. I own a couple of houses, and I noticed the money that I made over years. With the equity, I don't think I would have saved that much money.
Yeah, probably not. And
Yeah.
that's the other thing to instill urgency in people. It's like, why do you want to wait to start accumulating equity and start making money, right? Well, what do you hear? Why do people say what they want to wait? Maybe let's overcome some objections from buyers. Like, what do you hear buyers saying why they want to wait? Why when they say, Gary, you know what? Let's just hold off. I'll try again next year. What are their reasons for that?
Yeah, I mean, there's always different, but recently what happened was interest rate jumped up a lot, in the last 6 months. So that kind of scared a lot of people I mean, last year, they just kept going up and up and up. We started the year off last year was around 5%, I think. By the year end, it was like 8.5%. That scared a lot of people because I mean, limited income and you just can't afford it. So that was the real reason. That kind of scared a lot of people. So now rates are coming down, and people still want to wait until they go down more. Rates go down more, and inventory to come back on the market. A lot of sellers are not moving. So that's what I'm hearing. They want to see more inventory. They want to see rates go down.
Right. So that's the two big things you're hearing is that I want to see rates go down and I want to see more inventory. So, I mean, that's normal. I think no matter what's going on, people would want to see both those things. Do you have any kind of like objection handlers to get over those and get people back engaged in the home buying process?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would say, the rates are obviously, I mean, we could see that they're sliding down and slowly, right? The election's coming up, and that's probably going to happen. And then as far as the inventory goes, so what happened when the rates go down? Inventory doesn't really matter. You're going to have a lot more competition then. Everybody else will be looking to buy home, right? So actually, home prices will go up then, when there's more competition. So I just tell them, hey, I think it's a good time to buy right now, and we can refinance later. Let's just get what you can right now. Let's come back in a year or two and refinance, lower your payments, so you can
Right.
lock in the price, and we'll change your payment later.
Now, you are a lender as well as a realtor, right? So,
Yep.
how confident are you that rates are going to go down, say, within the next year?
Well, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but I mean, historically they go up and down, right? So we've been uptrend for like 2.5 years now, so almost 3 years now. So every 2 3 years they go up and down. So I'm just hoping that by end of the year they start to go down or down to the point where people feel comfortable. Because it wasn't in the twos before. It used to be in the fives, right? So we're close to seven right now. Some cases even 7 plus. So if we can come down a couple of points, maybe in the fives, it's just a psychological thing. Your payment doesn't change that much from 5 to 6, but it's just a psychological point. Oh, that's too much, right?
Right. Yeah. That's what they say. People are psyching themselves out about the interest rate. But I think the historical interest rate is 7.5%. That's what's been on average over the last 30 years or something like that, right?
Right, right, yeah. No, that's true. But I think it's the home prices are
Yeah, it's just affordability, so
affordability.
basically.
I mean, home prices used to be 100,000, and now it's 600,000. Same home, right?
Right, right. Well, I think
So
that, like hoping for greater affordability is essentially wishful thinking at this point, right? I mean, like we've been waiting for greater affordability for a long time. And, the one thing that made greater affordability was when the housing market crashed in 2007, 2008. That really improved affordability quite a bit if you still had a job, you know.
right, right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
if,
That
if
those
your
were
hours hadn't been cut and you could still qualify for a loan, right?
yeah,
I mean, that
yeah,
housing prices did become much more affordable, and they stayed affordable for a few years there, But all right, well, how about sellers? So I prefer to work with sellers, and I think that a lot of people maybe in the future will be preferring to work with sellers. I don't know why you would prefer to work with buyers anyway. Buyers, that's a hard row to hoe, as I say. But how about sellers, Gary? What do you do to instill urgency in a seller?
yeah. That's a tough one. A lot of sellers in my market are locked into low interest rates. They really don't have any motivation to move. So, I mean, you could still show them, some kind of historical data and stuff like that. Where the home prices are heading after the prices go up certain percentage they may go down, right? So they probably have a golden opportunity to sell right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what I like to do is I like to ask my sellers, I say, hey, listen, like I hear you're saying, like I hear you telling me that you want to wait, like 6 months, or you want to wait until next year, or whatever it is they say they want to wait, right? And I say, okay, well, if you knew for sure that you were going to lose $100,000 by waiting that long, would you still have to wait? And then they'll say,
oh,
"Well, how do you know you're going to lose $100,000?" And I say, "Well, it wouldn't matter, because if you did have to wait, then it wouldn't matter. But if you don't have to wait and you knew for sure you're going to lose $100,000, would you have to wait?" And if they say no, I wouldn't have to wait, then I say, "Great. Well, why take that risk? Why not just sell right now?"
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Um,
And that
yeah.
will also help you find out if they're a real seller or not, right? Because a lot of times agents, I'm guilty of this myself, work with people who are not real sellers, right? Like you don't ask them the qualifying questions, and you take a listing from somebody who is not really bent on selling, at fair market value. They would like to get some vanity price for their home. Uh, but by asking that kind of question, it will help crystallize and discover who really is a motivated seller, because that's really who you would rather be working with anyways, an actual motivated seller rather than a yeah, maybe, seller.
No, that's what it comes down to, working with motivated buyers and sellers all the time. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. You sometimes you get those sellers, oh, I'm not moving if I don't make $1 million profit. you
I think it's
know,
sometimes, I think oftentimes you get those sellers. One thing I like to do about creating urgency is, like, a couple of months ago, I was messaging my database about springtime, really, right? Because Compass put out a bunch of data showing clearly how you do much better in the spring months, right? Basically, like listing in February, March, and April than you do in any other month of the year. And so it's easy to show a seller, look, you're going to have less days on market, higher sale to list price ratio, higher price per square foot if you sell at those months statistically than if you would sell in any other month. So I kind of use that as a way. Also, I will say, and some people say, well, I want to sell over the summer, and I'll say, of course, you can sell over the summer. You can sell any month of the year, but if you want to know the truth is that the market quiets down in the summertime, right? Because people go on vacation. And who goes on vacation? The house buying class of people, because those are the people who have money. Those people will want to go on vacation. And even if you take just like 20% of the home buying market out of the market because they're on vacation at that time, that creates a hell of a lot of slack, right?
true.
Days on market go up, price per square foot go down, median sale price go down. And you can see it in the charts Compass has. Here goes, March, April, May goes up, 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 then down, 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 until the next time when they start to go up again, which around here it's September and October. In September, October, the market goes back up again. And so that's the messaging I use with people who miss the spring market. It's like, hey, you can sell anytime. You can sell in the summertime. But you definitely don't want to miss the fall, because the fall is the next time when people are back in the market, and they're back from vacation. Kids are in school, and they want to get something done before the holidays, right? So there will be a lot of people in at that time looking at. So especially at that time, I use that as a tool, like in the fall. I use that as a tool to really get people motivated right then. Like, really, for me, like, fall is one of my busiest seasons, really, because people feel the urgency, right? Because everybody knows that around the holidays, like, it is a slower time of year for home sales.
True, true. I think that's pretty much nationwide. In some of the places where it snows and bad weather, they really slow down. People don't even get out anymore. So holidays, winter season is always slow historically, pretty much. But in California, I think it's a little bit better where we're at.
Well, you know, I
Um,
was I was doing these coaching calls I don't know, a year or so ago, and talking to this guy up in Canada, and you know, where they have pretty harsh winters up there in Canada, you know, and he was crushing it. He put like 5 houses in contract in December, right? You
mhm.
know, and so it really can't happen. And that's another thing you can do, right? You know, that's another way of creating urgency around that time of year when you think that nobody else is going to be you know, buying a house, right? Is that you can say, listen, people who are buying a house in December or November or whatever, you know, those are people who are definitely motivated. You're going to have, yeah, there'll be less traffic, but you're going to have a higher percentage of buyers who are real, actual buyers. And at the same time, like in December, like it's the lowest inventory of the year, right? You're going to have like the least competition in December than you are at any time of the year, right? So, you know, if that's what you're looking for, you know, you need to just get on the market while the getting is good. And that's another thing you can use like year round, really, you know, like it doesn't really matter, you know, just point out like right now how little inventory there is. Like I was talking to a client yesterday and he's trying to get his house ready for sale, you know, and I met with him yesterday and I was just like, hey, look, right. And this is an expensive neighborhood. These houses are like 2.5 to $4 million basically in this neighborhood, right? I was like, look, I was looking at the market today, and there are literally no homes for sale. There's zero homes for sale right now. There's one home under contract, not available to buy. There's no competition right now. Like if you were to put your house on the market right now, you would be literally the only game in town. And that is when I personally find that I have the best luck selling houses is when you're in a really nice neighborhood that people want to be in, right? And then you're the only house for sale, right? What happens then? You know, why would you want to miss a market like that and wait like 2 months for like, you know, 3 or 4 houses to come up for sale, right? And you're saying, well, there's okay, well, there's 3 or 4 houses for sale. Now that's not a lot. Well, you know, it's a lot more than 0 houses for sale, right? You know, you are giving buyers choice, right? You're giving buyers an option not to buy your house, right? You know, so like, why wouldn't you want to take advantage of the market when the market is hot versus waiting for some other time in the future when the market, you know, will probably be much cooler, right? I mean, you can't get less inventory than 0, right?
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that's
The market can only get worse.
yeah. I mean, that's I mean, you're in a unique market, so I mean, when you get that, you got to jump on it. Sellers got to jump on that opportunity.
Yeah, right. Why miss out on that, really? You know, so I hope that I have instilled some urgency in him. And you know, because he's also like, well, but then I got to move, and I'm like, dude, you don't, because you can get a free rent back, right? I mean, like when you are the only game in town,
Right.
you get the best price and the best terms, really, which includes a free rent back for you for like a month or maybe 2, maybe 6 weeks or whatever. I mean, like whatever you feel you need, you know. I mean, and he's going like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm gonna go back and talk to the wife about that, you know. So
I think that's another thing. People moving, they don't know. They think they can't move. They can't find something where they, you know. I think that's another thing causing sellers not to move right now. So maybe there's a way to show some urgency there.
well, you can always just show them that they can, you know, they can make sell their home subject to them finding replacement property, which sounds tough because finding replacement property may be hard. But the thing is that if you already have your home under contract, then you're actually a really strong buyer because you're either paying cash for your next home that you're buying, which is, you know, like one less thing for a seller to worry about, right? Is okay, well, at least he's paying cash, right? You're either paying cash or you have a gigantic down payment. But not only that, you yourself as a buyer, you are a super motivated buyer. You're the most motivated buyer
Yeah.
because you need to not lose your deal you currently have, right? So you're not going to rock the boat with the house that you're buying, right? You know, you're not going to rock that boat either. You're going to be, you know, it's a little bit of a delicate balancing act there as you're moving out of one house into another. And so you are going to do everything you can to really make that a great sale. I don't know if I've ever even had like a contingent offer fall apart, really. You know, I mean,
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's not many, but I mean, yeah, you're right. every time there is one, it's always goes through. Always,
Yeah,
always.
because there's so much. I mean, it's a lot of pressure and stress, really. But because there is so much pressure and stress, I think that people are focused,
Yeah,
and that they do a better job with the execution because there's literally so much riding. And I mean, there's literally millions of dollars riding, on the sale of these two houses usually. So yeah, that's one way to create urgency is just tell the seller, hey, listen, like just get your home on the market right now, and that once you are um, in contract with a buyer on your house, which it'll be easy to find a buyer for your house, and
yeah,
they will also take the chance on you having contingent, like you need to find a replacement property because it's so hard for them to get into contract on anything,
I
right?
know. But you know what I noticed now that you brought this up, I noticed that the seller sometime would tell you that, contingent offers and all that stuff, but sometime at the end of the day, they just end up renting if they can't find something. They won't cancel that deal.
Right. Yeah, they'll just end up renting, right?
It
Which
has happened now that you brought that up. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, it did happen in the past where seller first was like adamant, oh, I need this, type of home, or I'm not moving. Once we got the offer and then we couldn't find nothing, they ended up renting.
right.
They don't
Yeah.
want to lose the deal.
Right. They don't want to lose the deal. Right. Who would want to lose the deal? I mean, if you actually are at that point where you're, ready to make the move, you've done all the work getting your house ready for sale. And,
Yeah.
why would you want to like throw all that away?
Yeah. So get that listing signed.
Get that listing signed, right? Exactly. Well, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, I mean, clearly, I mean, like, the markets you have right now. That's why I tell people, like, don't wish for a better market or a different market because you don't know what's going to come, really. Like, if you are ready to make the move right now or the next several months, right? Just bite the bullet, put your home on the market and, like, do a strategy to get the best price and terms in your current market, right?
Yep.
And then don't just hope because I mean there is certainly a good chance that it could all fall apart tomorrow. Really, I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to. No one really knows, but that's why I tell people also is that that's one thing that COVID taught us, right? COVID taught us a really good lesson. It actually taught us two good lessons, really. The first lesson is that anything can happen at any time, right? You'll just never know, right? Things can come out of the blue, right? And the other thing is that the unintended, unexpected results can happen because everybody thought that when COVID would happen, that the real estate market would crash, right? Everybody
Yeah.
thought that,
Yeah.
right? Did they not?
Yeah,
Right?
we were all scared, as professionals, right?
I wasn't. I didn't think the market was going to crash, but maybe I'm a little bit of a loner in that one.
Yeah, but
But
I mean,
instead of the market crashing, the market took off, right? But see, the opposite could happen, right? The opposite could just as easily happen, and it could happen tomorrow. The market could crash at any time. You just never know, right? And if you
no.
can't afford to take that risk, why take that risk?
Yeah. Yeah, you
So
gotta, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's COVID helping with that one. And people then they do say, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I can see what you mean, right? I mean, like something could just happen at any time, And in fact, when there is a big correction in home prices, it's usually not really a little recession that causes it. It really is usually like some big external factor, like COVID or like the Loma Prieta earthquake or like .com bust, right? I mean, like there's usually some other big shock that sends the market down. It's usually not just like a normal business cycle, which you might be able to like anticipate through market timing. It's not usually because of that. It usually is something that just comes out of total left field. And I tell my clients, if you can't afford to have that happen to you, then just sell now.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, whenever you're ready to move, you just gotta do it, don't wait.
Don't nibble on the barrel, pull the trigger.
Yeah.
That's my favorite
Yeah.
line from Lethal Weapon. You actually know Lethal Weapon.
Yeah,
So,
waiting. Yeah, there's no guarantee that by waiting you're gonna make more money,
right,
you
and you
know.
and if you could end up losing a lot of money, then like you don't want to risk that. Why wait? All right, Gary. Well, that is it, man. We are just about out of time today. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, as professionals, we just need to have more conversations with our buyers and sellers. to create that urgency. You know, try to get as many meetings you can, as many phone calls you can, so you can show your expertise to these people. You know, uh,
That
uh,
is a very good point, Gary. That's a very good point. I mean, stop texting your clients.
no, yeah, yeah,
Call them
maybe.
and talk to them, or have a meeting with them in person, right? You want to get your client, keep them moving along, keep them bound to you, right? It's all about trust and the relationship that you have, right? It's hard to have trust in a relationship over a text message.
No, no, absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, texting is getting old now. Yeah, you got to get back to the good old fashioned pick up the phone,
Pick up the
talk to people,
phone.
and set up some meeting. You know, whether it's a coffee meeting or whatever you can, right? Get
Right.
as many meetings you can with these people. So, so yeah, that's it.
Right. Well, that's an urgent thing that everyone who's watching this right now, who's listening to this right now, that's an urgent thing for you to do, Mr. or Mrs. Agent. Pick up the damn phone right now, call some people, get together in person, and make some deals happen.
That's it.
All right. Good deal, man. Hey, Gary, thanks so much, man. We'll talk again next week.
Okay, we'll see you.
All
Bye.
right.